¿Cómo andas, Che?
¿Cómo estás, Eric?
Bien. And that's all the Spanish I can do right now. It's late.
That's good.
So, guest podcast host, I'm Marcelo da Cruz. Tell a little bit about yourself, where you're from, what kind of things you do.
Okay. Hey, thanks, Eric, for having me here tonight. I'm from Argentina originally. If you couldn't tell by my accent already. We won't discuss about the World Cup. I guess you'll make me talk about the World Cup. I know you. But,
It's all right. Spain lost, so I can commiserate with you on Argentina.
we can cry together. Yeah, I know.
All right. Well, we'll just jump right in then. Really quick, some follow up from last week. IOTA, one of the coins there, is ranked number 9 out of all cryptocurrencies with a valuation of $3 billion, but the entire network has been knocked offline for several days and no one seems to be talking about it. So just an interesting point about the maturity of the cryptocurrency market. Again, I don't really want to talk a whole lot about cryptocurrencies, and maybe we'll link to another interesting article about the Ethereum blockchain size. It's over a terabyte. So if you want to actually run an Ethereum full node and be able to participate, you need a terabyte of space, and the size is not slowing down because you can store whatever you want in the blockchain. Things that the cryptocurrency market and blockchains are going to have to solve. What's your thoughts on cryptocurrencies there, Marcelo? Do you own Bitcoin?
I have a few Bitcoin and Ethereum, but honestly, I mean, I haven't really been that invested in general in the technology. I don't know enough to I mean, I know what's about and everything, but I'm just a user, not an expert, I would say. I know you are an expert. I'm always surprised at these things, like, the size of the 1 terabyte. That's crazy. Like, if you have to run a full node with, it's just a gigantic amount of information.
And who knows what you're actually storing on your hard drive, because it's all just shared on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Anyways, so just I'll throw a link into the show notes about a couple additional cryptocurrency things, and then I won't talk about it again for several weeks, unless John makes me when he gets back next week.
Probably, yes.
All right. So now let's move on to the World Cup. Now, of course, whenever there is a big global event, the scammers come out in force. One article that caught my eye this time was a political article, actually, I guess. Hamas luring Israeli soldiers to malware disguised in World Cup apps. Normally, I don't think we really talk government or politic-like things. As a side note, I guess if you want that kind of conversation, there's a great podcast, Patrick Gray, Risky Business, maybe link to that as well. But anyways, this one was an app that was attempting to get Israeli military to download and use, and it was malware, just for some simple cyber espionage. However, our friends over at Symantec actually had a nice teardown, which we'll link in the notes, as to the Golden Cup app. So this app, the Golden Cup, made it onto the Google Play Store, which kind of gives it a little bit of legitimacy. It was basically trying to turn the little device into an espionage device.
I see.
I guess that's what it was.
So that was the ulterior motive of the app. But what was, so it was marketed as like statistics, World Cup statistics, or?
Yeah, it was marketed as, the fastest app for live scores and videos, etc. And it probably did exactly what it claimed to do. I mean, I assume it, actually did supply the scores in addition to trying to steal data.
So you probably went to FIFA's APIs for getting all the data and doing this other thing. That's a lot of effort.
When you get to state-sponsored type activities, budgets seem to...
Sky's the limit.
I don't know what the right word is there, but state-sponsored seems to have more money to do interesting things. But anyways, Symantec had a nice write-up of the teardown of what it did, where it was, what it was trying to do, and things it was looking for. Just another reminder, I think, that, anytime there is a large event, keep your eyes out because scammers are going to try to capitalize on whatever that event might be.
Yeah, actually, in fact, that now that you mentioned this, first thing I did when the World Cup started was going to the App Store and looking for such an app. I think
Yep.
I mindful about security, try to get the FIFA's whatever app they have, but yeah, there's a lot of people that they will just download whatever first thing they find when they're trying to get the live scores. And
I think a lot of people as well probably grab the official app, but then when the official app doesn't give them the video clips they want because they want you to pay, they're trying to do that. People go out and tried to find other ways to see video clips of games or things that I couldn't find that weren't right in the app itself.
Yeah.
So
yep, exactly. Yeah,
I that's a, I guess, really short reminder there. Whenever there's a big event, keep your eyes out for that. 4th of July in the United States, there was an article about a time capsule app suffered a July 4th data breach that affected 21 million users. Yeah. So anytime there's something big, hackers take advantage of it.
That's actually interesting because apparently the hackers they had gained access to the cloud infrastructure of TimeHop back in December 2017. So they had the admin credentials, and apparently the cloud account didn't have multi-factor auth. So just by getting the user and password, they were able to create a secondary admin account, and then they hold to that credential till the 4th of July. So they waited 6 months, and I think they logged in a couple of times since December. But they only executed the attack, the exfiltration, July 4th, and most probably because sysadmins will be either on vacation or personnel will be spread thin. So they actually and a quick note to TimeHop, I think they actually detected the attack in like 2 hours. So that's pretty fast. And there's really not much information flowing around, but I think that's pretty fast. Yeah.
Right. So they when movement started to happen, and data started to be exfiltrated, then they noticed in 2 hours. But like you mentioned, someone had been sitting just kind of lurking, for 6 months. So
yeah, exactly, yeah. And there's also, related to that, but so there's this. Apparently, Apple is trying to push. I think it's 1Password, of one of the password management tools, to all of their employees.
Really?
As a way to, I guess, prevent this type of things, right? Or just in general get better security practice. And I think it's a great idea. I have a password management tool, and I know I don't have a perfect score. I probably have a few duplicated passwords, here and there. There's always that one, website or whatever. We have to get better at, managing passwords and doing multi-factor authentication.
Yeah, and I was sitting just the other night going through. I use 1Password, and they have really cool tools inside the 1Password app to show you passwords that you're using on more than one website, passwords that have been discovered in a breach.
Yeah.
When that feature first came out a couple months ago and got rid of all the passwords that had been seen in a breach, I'd slowly been moving them over time. And I think he's updated, because I went and checked again last night, and some more passwords that previously weren't in breaches now apparently appear in a breach, which also pointed out some less than stellar passwords I still had for a few random websites. I think one of them was like, logging in to see my kids' grades at the school. So, somebody wants to log in and see my kids' grades. All right. And I guess actually that kind of sort of leads into the topic you mentioned you want to talk about, the security fatigue.
Security fatigue, exactly. Yeah, it's probably a weird topic for this podcast about security. And just gonna basically tell people not to care about security.
Well, no. There's a risk and there's a balance, right? It's hard to tell my dad, for example, who has 4 or 5 he keeps all his passwords on a Word doc that he then prints out and stores in a safe.
That's awesome.
Right?
Tell your dad that he's awesome.
And that works for him. Yeah. And I have a hard, hey, Dad used a password manager, but it works for him. He's got his routine. He's got it figured out. It's hard for me to complain about it. Anyways, so
risk management. Yeah, I mean, there's this article that I saw this week in, let me see, it's USA Today, but it's been floating around in different news outlets. But it's titled, the one in USA Today is titled, "Why You Might Want to Wrap Your Car Key Fob in Foil." So that's the article. So basically,
wrap your key fob in foil.
Just drop whatever you're doing. If you're listening to this podcast, and just go and wrap your car key fob in aluminum foil. And it's interesting because the attack behind the article, right? It's so there's these security researchers that basically found a way to use an amplifier to amplify the signal from your key fob, and just basically mislead your car into thinking that the key fob is right next to the car. And there's this cool video floating around in YouTube of guy parking a car in front of a coffee shop, and he basically closes the car, gets into the coffee shop, and these two guys with black hoodies, one follows him into the coffee shop, and one stays next to the car, and they both have cell phone with like a radio amplifier, right? So the one that is next to him in the coffee shop gets close enough to get the signal from the key fob, transfers that into the cell phone before an app, then sends that back to the other side.
They've just invented the Wi-Fi extender equivalent for key fobs. Because those key fobs are transmitting, probably 10 meters, not too far from where you're at, which is why you can go in and no one can unlock your door. But
exactly that. It's basically a range extender, and I know. Most of these standards, they're already working on distance, measurements and things to detect these type of things better than what they do today. But that's in the work in the standards today. It's not in production, something that the car manufacturers can go and use today. But the interesting thing about the article and all the responses from some of the security experts is that basically it goes to tell, hey, you should, how do you protect your key, or get it into aluminum foil or into a tin can or something, right? And the point, and I caught this actually via Charlie Miller in Twitter. So Charlie Miller, the security researcher.
He's the guy who's was made famous by doing all the Jeep hacks several years ago.
Yeah, exactly. Apple hacks and whatnot. And since he's basically disagreeing with the advice on the articles, basically saying you're gonna make yourself miserable by just having to remember to wrap your key into foil and for something that doesn't really make sense. And I tend to agree, because if you think about it, the attack. So number one, the attack is really cool. I mean, technically speaking, it's really cool. The work that the researchers do, it's really, really awesome, cutting edge. But in reality, when you get into whether this is a practical attack or not, it's really not that practical, because given the conditions, things have to happen. And in the worst case, you always have car insurance, at least in the US, right? and yeah, I'm just going to say that. But even if you think, today in the US, I think the average age of a car is like 10 years or something like that, right? So you have to find a car that has a new technology. And the most stolen cars are actually 10-year-old cars. If you are a thief, you're better off learning how to hotwire a car than probably, getting some of these range extenders or, that type of thing. So yeah, it's about, how to measure risk, and how, does it make sense to have a protection that will make your life harder, and have to remember to doing, all of these things,
right?
Versus just accepting the risk. And it's really a personal, decision in the end, right? But me personally, I'm not going to wrap these things in aluminum foil. I just, that's going to happen.
No, like you say, you have to measure the actual chance that someone's going to come to your neighborhood, stand outside your house, try to find out roughly where your bedroom is or where your keys might be in the house to get close enough to
Spider-Man like. They have to climb into, just to get close to the key. Yeah. It's yeah. I mean, again, and I think it's something that the car manufacturers need to solve. And it's also something interesting is this type of articles or the take on the news actually scares people into thinking, oh, I have to go and protect myself and doing this. But in reality, car manufacturers have to fix this, right? So right. It's something that needs to be fixed. It's not and by the manufacturers, the providers, not by users. Users should just use the technology and not having to worry about these things.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes being in the security industry, what is common sense or easy for me to do, because after I read this, I started to think about, should I really be telling all my family to get a password manager? Does that really make sense? I'm still trying to encourage my wife and kids to use the password manager. I have the 1Password Families pack, so I have a password manager for all of them, and they're slowly adopting it. But it kind of is that, am I pushing it too hard that it actually turns them the wrong direction for using a password manager or other types of things? Do you run AV? If you're running Windows, it's just kind of a default. Everybody knows you got to run AV. Other security type things that we kind of just take for granted or just do, maybe other people don't need to, or there are other ways than it may be a technological solution, like my dad and his paper passwords hidden in his safe.
Yeah, I that totally agree. And yeah, I mean, something I've been missing in iOS for a while was the integration of password managers into apps that Android has already, and I think now it's coming in one of the next versions of iOS. But it's also about usability. Like, people say, you give me a password manager, if the user experience sucks big time, they're gonna write the passwords in a piece of paper or just reuse them. I've seen these tools, all of them, in general, like 1Password or LastPass. They've been improving the user experience over and over, and I think that's good. That's what's going to drive people to use them more. Yeah.
It's all about usability, making security usable.
Yeah.
The easier it is to use, the more likely someone is to use it. And it's getting there.
And until there, we're going to write the passwords in a piece of paper and use a safe.
That's right.
That's right. 100% with your dad there. Yeah.
Well, good stuff. All right. Well, now we move into the something fun section here of the podcast. So I have an article in the Seattle Times. It's about Costco, but I need to preface this with, because it's not necessarily fun, but my story is kind of fun. So, and then the article is less fun. All right. So, all my kids, from the time they could talk, they always got to choose where they wanted to go for birthday dinner, and whatever they chose, everybody, got to go. There was no complaining. I don't like that place, or sometimes they'd choose, I just want to have hamburgers in the backyard, or I just want sandwiches. One year, my daughter decided she wanted to be vegetarian, and we went to this vegetarian restaurant. So wherever they want to go, that's where we go. And that's kind of one of the birthday surprises for them, and sometimes for the family. So my son, when he was, I can't remember if it was 6 or 7, when my wife went and asked him where he wanted to go for his birthday dinner, he announced Costco. He wanted to go get hot dogs at Costco.
Good choice.
And that's what he wanted. And my 2 daughters, who are older, kind of eye rolled, but they went, and my wife put on a really nice fake grin. Okay, let's go to Costco for dinner. And we went, and it was the cheapest birthday dinner, I think, to this date. I think it was less than $14, and we ate like kings for 5 of us at Costco. Anyways, so there's my fun story. And now to get to the point, or the other section there, is apparently Costco is going to stop selling the Polish dogs, and I assume the hot dogs as well. And this has garnered national attention. Digital pitchforks. People are running around talking about how they're going to drop their Costco membership, and there's a hashtag save the Polish dog.
Oh my.
And a change.org request. But, hey, they're trying apparently to be more healthy, and so they've decided they want to put more healthy things on their menu. And if they put something tasty and healthy for $1.50, like the hot dog and drink, all right. But I will miss the hot dogs at Costco.
Yeah.
I'm too old to eat them a lot now, but I still eat them occasionally. Oh, man.
Well, I guess we have to see what they come up with as a healthy option. Who knows?
Maybe I'll like it.
Maybe you'll like it. There you go.
Maybe that's where one of my daughters, the vegetarian, will decide she wants to go for her birthday dinner.
There you go. To Costco. Yeah. Veggie dog or something like that.
All right. So, as a guest, I figured we would ping you on for the something fun section from you. Marcelo would be, because John and I have done this in the past episodes, gone back and looked at what was the first thing you ever bought on Amazon. So Amazon is not in Argentina, right?
Yeah, no, it's not in Argentina. There's been rumors of, Amazon trying to get in the market. There's something similar. There's Mercado Libre, which I think is in most of Latin America. But I think it's related to eBay. Mercado Libre, I think it's related to eBay. I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, Amazon is not there.
But you've been in the States for a while now, and you used to travel up.
Yep, I used to travel a lot when I worked for Intel, and I hadn't yet moved to the US permanently. And
so, what was the first year? When did you? What year was it you ordered your first thing off Amazon?
So I'm looking here, at least what Amazon keeps track of is, I think, I'm not 100% sure for how long. I think I had my account since 2008, probably. But the orders, the first order I see in 2009, and this is memory lane for me. It's a it's a network attached storage. It's a D-Link 2-bay network attached storage, and to go with it, 2 1 terabyte hard drives. Of course.
Do you remember what you bought those, took those back to Argentina? Was that for a media server, or?
Yeah, it was a combination of media server, storing, pictures, files, and whatever. And at the time, and again, think, Argentina and the network speeds, they're usually pretty decent, but at the time what they weren't, there wasn't a lot of Google Drive. Those services were only getting started, so they weren't that common. Like the concept of putting things in the cloud was like, right. What's that's scary, right? So kept a lot of things there, a lot of files, and I think I still have a NAS. I mean, now I have a 4 drive, but I still use them. Even we keep most of our things in the cloud today. I just like keeping things, private, I guess.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
The security thing coming out in you.
Security thing coming up again. Yeah.
Well, if anybody wants to know what mine was, they can go back and find the early episode. I don't remember what it was. Yeah, it was 2000, and they were books. Surprise, surprise. Well, this was fun. Thanks, Marcelo.
Yeah, it was fun. Hey, no, thank you for having me. This is really cool.
Thanks for filling in for John. All right. Well, have a good night.
Thank you, Eric. Having a good night too.
Talk to you later.
Bye.